Hey guys, here's my workbook pages. I'm going to go ahead and scan everything in the end, and I'm just going to go through what you should have and then work through these problems. So you should have notes for example 1 through 6, and if you don't, you can work watching my videos, or you can click through Canvas and hit the solution button and see the answers to these 6 examples. Okay, so somewhere in here you should be writing your name, and the first question that I asked you to do was question number 12. So let's take a look. It says, error analysis. Benito wrote the equation shown below. Explain Benito's errors. So if we look at this here and we look back on our notes, we mentioned that tick marks means that those two line segments are congruent. So technically, an equal sign is not really the best way to write this. And I think that's the one little snafu, and we can fix that. So AB has 1 tick mark, and BC has 1 tick mark, but we technically should call that congruent. So to fix this, we're just adding this one little squiggle above the equal sign, which is a way of meaning that word congruent. So if AD has 2 tick marks and DC has 2 tick marks, those should be congruent. And then these 2 angles have 1 arc mark each. So same with arc marks, like in our notes. If they each have 2 arc marks, then they are congruent, which means equal in measurement. So angle A should be congruent to angle C because they both have 1 arc mark. The next question they asked us, and this is kind of a tricky one, so here we go. Question 13 states, point Y is in the interior of angle XWZ. So if I had an angle, it says my angle, I'm just going to write down any old angle, and then maybe I'll have to redraw it. If I had an angle XYZ, point Y falls somewhere in here somewhere, point Y, right? Now it says, given that ray WX and ray WZ are opposite rays. Oops, this is important. Opposite rays means exactly that. That means one is going in this direction and the other one is going in the absolute opposite direction. So I could have drawn this. One's going west and one's going east, or I could have also, this would be another drawing of opposite rays, right? One's going north, one's going south. But so I have to redraw this. So this is actually, I'll leave it there though, because it was part of my thinking. I need to actually open up that angle and draw it like this. So ray WX and WZ are opposite rays. And Y, point Y falls somewhere inside of here. So if I look at this angle, let's see what else we know. It says angle XWY is equal to 4 times YWZ. So if I add a Y somewhere in here, right, it says the measure of angle XWY is equal to 4 times as much as this other angle, and we're solving for this other angle. So I'm going to call that other angle X because that's what we want to solve for, correct? And I know this other angle, let's see, it's XWY, right? So XWY, this angle is equal to 4 times that angle. So this one has to equal 4 times that angle. So if I call that X, okay? Now, I could make this a little bit easier. I could call this, whatever I'm solving for, I could call that angle 1 and this other angle, angle 2. I don't know angle 1 or angle 2, but I know angle 1, 4 times the measurement of angle 1 would have to equal angle 2. That's what this is saying. So, you see why it makes sense? I called that X, so I know the measurement of angle 2. Whatever X is, whatever this is 4 times as big, because that's what they said. Now, the other interesting thing I know is because of this protractor rule, a straight line or a straight angle, has to equal 180 degrees. So I actually know that these two angles, the one on the right and the one on the left and the one on the right, have to add up to 180. So let's go ahead and solve for x, and that will give us our answer. So if I combine these two, I get 36. That's my answer. I should probably plug it in just to make sure. Yep, I'm solving for angle YWZ, YWZ, and that's what I've solved for. And I can check my work. So this angle would be 4 times 36. So that's 144. So angle 144 should plus 36 should equal 180, and it does. And I can also verify that 4 times 36 is 144. So that is a true statement. This would be a true statement. All right, let's take a look at 15. In the diagram, LMN is 1/16. So LMN is 1/16. So now I automatically know, since these two angles have one tick mark, that they're the same. So I could call them x. I don't know what they are. So the first one is x, and this one is x. If I added them together, they're supposed to add together to make 1/16. So using algebra, I can see that I'd have to divide that in half. I get 58. You could also have kind of used logic there. If the whole thing's 1/16 and both sides are equal, it has to be equal to half of that. To double check our work, 58 and 58 would add up to 1/16. Now there's another one arc mark there, and so then that means I know this is also 58. All right, so anything with one arc mark is 58. Now let's take a look at what else they said. They said angle JKM is 122. So JKM is 122. Okay, but I don't know this angle, and I don't know this angle, but I know the whole thing's 122, so I might have to move to another angle. I also know JNM is 103. JNM is 103. Oh, that I could figure out. This big angle, JMN, is 103. So if that angle is 103, if I think about this, I should be able to solve. I'm going to call this one y because it's a second angle, right? So I know 58 plus y should equal the whole angle 103. 58 plus y is equal to the whole angle 103. So getting 45. Okay, so the angle with two necklaces I solved for, and it's 45. And so this one also has two arc marks, or two necklaces, and that will be 45. Now I can solve for this big, using this big angle. So they told me earlier that this angle was 122. I know that's 45, so I should be able to solve for that. So I'm going to call that Z, NKM, and that's what they've asked me to solve for. So I know 45, two arc marks, plus Z, the angle I don't know, my third angle I don't know, add together to be 103. So if I subtract 45 on both sides, I finally get my answer I'm solving for. Cool? Great job. Check out the next video for the next set of questions.